Yes, I'll keep it fairly brief. If you don't know me, I'm Bret, the manager here at Tocal Dairy. Pete's explained everything even though he says a quick amount of time. I think that's a really good overview of it all. I suppose the thing for me, what we've learnt and what we've done better with now is a few things. With the moisture probes, definitely I can see much quicker, what that soil moisture is doing. So it's certainly made me react a little bit quicker where you might have been, say, 3 days late before. You're never really late anymore. Unless there's an operational thing like you're making silage on that paddock or something like that. They're reasons that we still go under that line, or we might be grazing in a particular area where it's too hard to run an irrigator over strip grazing fences and that might put us a day behind. But in general, this last year, it's made me, probably realise that you can be a couple of days late without sort of thinking about it, especially if it's been extremely wet for a period leading up to it, and you don't sort of realise you've still, on this farm here, we can still actually have some wet spots in paddocks where it's actually holding water, but the rest of it probably, does need 10 mil of irrigation or something like that. So, those sort of things have come to light, looking at that, having the probes. And certainly that Erie pasture, I think, is a really, really good program for me to look back, and I love it that Pete enters all the data in it. And I can historically look at where I've done well and where I might have, why did I go below that red line? If I have to start entering that data myself, I need to restructure my day and think about how that works, because it is another thing that I have to do. So you'd have to make a decision then whether you can do it or one of your employees or something like that can do it, because it's just an extra thing that takes a bit of time. But to have that set of data there is actually really good to see how you've performed, over time, and it gives you an indication of, what's you probably can do better in the future. The things that I use though now, definitely just very simple every day. I can bring up on my phone what the moisture probes are doing. So I can look at the probes, what my graph's doing, what the moisture's doing, and the other big thing has been the Swan emails. That's been great. That's a free email service estimating what your evapotranspiration is going to be for that upcoming week, and you can cross-check that. Like every now and then I'll take a screenshot of that data and then just look on the BOM like the week later just to see how close they were with their predictions, and they're pretty good. They're generally like actually very good. So that's been useful. So I can certainly, you know whether you got to load up or really get stuck in a bit quicker if there's some, heat wave conditions and a lot of wind or something like that. One thing I was surprised this winter, we got some really windy weather, and how much moisture we were losing in that, even though the temperatures were cool, wind was high, and we were losing a fair bit of moisture, more than what I thought. So they were things I definitely learnt over the course of this year. And that's the thing that we found with these pivots. When they were first designed, the first plans that came back through, they were only going to deliver about 7 mils, I think, in a 24-hour period. And luckily enough, we stopped them then. And we said, no, that's not good, because we knew that our evaporation rates could be up to at least 8 or 9 quite regularly in a normal summer. So these ones are up to 12, and we can, you might not have picked it up, but we can be very dry and have no rainfall, but within a week I can get that profile, or within even half a week I can get that profile right back up. So I don't run that risk of dropping below. And the difference, I mean, you guys already know this, but the difference in the pivots to the hard hoses or the travellers, it's night and day. I don't know what to tell you. There's just no comparison. But it's all money, isn't it? You've got to spend it, and the infrastructure setup costs are high, but gee whiz, the amount of extra production we grow under those pivots it's just phenomenal, really. No, I can run all those from my phone and just turn them on. Even though we don't have pipes or anything like that, I've got a full, when it's dry, I've got full-time farm worker just moving travellers. That's his week, in the rest of the irrigation, because we've only got the 37 hectares. It's not like we're a big pivot farm. We've got 37 hectares of pivots. The other, we've only got about 80 hectares in irrigation, maybe 100 if you stretch it out if things aren't too dry. And the rest is all travelling irrigators. Soon to be a hard hose go into the mix. But yeah, that's a labour unit for a week, really. Just that and fertiliser. That's about all that person can do, is shift irrigators and put fertiliser out, and that's his week done. I think Irri-Pasture fits really well. While I've got Pete entering my data and giving me a nice little readout every month and says this is how well you've done. And I'm not really using it as a predicting tool at the moment, I've got to be honest, because I'm looking at how I've been going, and I've sort of calibrated my mind to that, and I've sort of said, well, I'm actually doing pretty good looking at that, like with using the moisture probes and ETO, and obviously plant factors. Like, I mean, we're dairy farmers who strip graze. We're out in the paddock every day. Like, you're shifting fences, you're putting fence pegs in, you're looking at plants. Like, I mean, all that. I think, it's all helps to calibrate where you're at. But I certainly know I go below at times, but it's usually a decision that I make because, springtime I've got ryegrass silage I might want to cut, and I know it's getting dry, but we've got to cut, rake, bale, get the bales off, and that's probably 3 days that I'm behind where I should have been watering, but that's just life. There's not much you can do about that.
Can I just characterise that with slightly different labels? Yeah. Matt knows he's gone below, and it's a management decision that he knows he's done and he's going to have to fix and adjust, which is very different to going below when you don't know you are and you think it's all okay. One's management, the other one is you have no idea.
I can do that with the pivots and know that within 2 days I'll be right back up there. But I know probably at that same time in these travelling irrigation blocks, I'm below every bloody day of the year when it's real bad. So we still grow good grass, but I know that I could grow more if we had a better. But anyway, that's just the way it is. All right.
Yep.